This Valentine's Day, celebrate every kind of love with Pandora. Whether it's romantic, platonic, familial, or a moment of self-love, Pandora's versatile designs let you express those connections in meaningful ways. Each piece tells a unique story, transforming a gift into a heartfelt message that honors the bonds that make life special. Pandora helps you celebrate the relationships that truly matter. Let your heart guide you to the perfect Valentine's Day surprise, filled with sparkle and symbols that capture your most cherished moments together. Make the feeling last, from first sight to forever, on Valentine's Day and every day. Be love. Shop Pandora jewelry today in-store or online at pandora.net.
The Apple Watch Series 10 is here. It has the biggest display ever. It's also the thinnest Apple Watch ever, making it even more comfortable on your wrist, whether you're running, swimming, or sleeping. And it's the fastest charging Apple Watch, getting you 8 hours of charge in just 15 minutes. The Apple Watch Series 10, available for the first time in glossy jet black aluminum. Compared to previous generations, iPhone XS or later required. Charge time and actual results will vary.
If you do one nice thing for yourself today, you'll feel pretty good. But imagine how you'd... Hey everyone, welcome back to On Purpose. Thank you so much for tuning in right now to become happier, healthier, and more healed. I feel that this episode is going to be a pivotal one for the rest of your 2024. This is going to be one of those episodes that you're going to feel the difference immediately because you checked in. We're already 90 days in, right? We're 3 months in, effectively 90 days in. And we're a quarter of the way through the year, 3 months down. And it is so important that we start living our years in quarters, right? A lot of us wait for New Year's Day, New Year's resolutions to restart, to reset, to feel like we can gather momentum again, get that energy back. But here's what I want to tell you. The highest performers in the world, the highest performing companies in the world, the brands and the organizations that hit their pinnacle, all of them are measuring things every week, every day, and definitely every quarter. Now, I want you to have a year that you look back on and say, 2024 was one of the best years of my life. How many of you want that year? Raise your hand right now. Nod your head right now, right? So many of us want that year, but we almost wait until the end of the year to see, what did I achieve? What have I done? Where did things go wrong? Where did they go right? This is your quarter one check-in to help you level up, to help you upgrade, and to help you get to the next stage in your acceleration. So, here's how I want you to think about this. These aren't just any old questions. These aren't just easy reflection questions for the end of the year, end of the month. These are the ones that are going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. These reflections are going to be challenging, and I want them to be because I really want to uncover what's blocking you. I really want to uncover what's getting in your way. I really want to uncover what is it that is holding you back when you know what you need to do, when you know what you need to build, when you know what's on the other side. Now, here's how I want to approach this. You've heard me say this quote before, but I have to share it again. Charles Horton Cooley once wrote, "The challenge today is, I'm not what I think I am. I'm not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am." Let that blow your mind for a moment. Charles Horton Cooley said, "The challenge today is, I'm not what I think I am. I'm not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am." Which means we live in a perception of ourselves. Let me break that down further. What it means is, if I think that you think I'm smart, then I feel smart. But if I think that you think I'm weak, then I feel weak. A lot of us base what we're chasing, what we're doing, what we're building, how we spend our time on what we think people think of us. Some of us don't try to do the thing we really want to do because we're scared of what people think of us. So many of us don't chase our dreams because we're scared of what we think people think of us. So many of us don't date the person we want to date. We don't try the thing we want to try. We don't launch the thing we want to launch because we're so worried of what we think other people think of us. And this block, this fear, not of failure, but of the judgment that we'll get if we fail, holds us back eternally. So here's how I want to start excavating as our Q1 check-in today. The first question is, what is the most difficult judgment that you're afraid of? I told you it was going to be a tough one. I told you it was going to be uncomfortable, right? I told you I was going to challenge you today. What is the most difficult judgment you are afraid of? Right? What's that thing that you're like, I don't want people to think that about me, right? I don't want to think that about myself. But what is the thing that you think, I don't want people to think that about me? That's why I'm not doing X, Y, Z, or Z, right? What is the most difficult judgment you're afraid of facing? That's blocking you from living your best life. That's made this quarter slower, less productive, less effective than you want it to be. Now, this is a really interesting one because we all don't like being judged. And that totally makes sense, right? That none of us want to be judged. But this is really more about the idea of we're scared of a judgment that we haven't received yet because we're predicting that if we take a certain step or action, that we might get that. We're scared that if we upload that video, our friends will think we're losers. We're scared that if we announce our new plans, our friends will say they're not possible. We're scared that if we tell everyone who we're dating, they may not approve. We're scared that if we really tell everyone the truth about what we want to do and what we're focused on, people will laugh at us. What is that most difficult judgment you are afraid of facing? What is it? Second, who would you be if you didn't worry what people think about you? How many of you think or overthink how you laugh? How many of you overthink how you cry? How many of you overthink how you behave in social settings and then just limit yourself and then act even more stupid, right? How many of you feel that way? You're trying to avoid acting in a way that you judge yourself for, but then you actually end up acting worse? Who would you be if you didn't worry what people think about you? Who would you allow yourself to be? Who would you allow yourself to express yourself as? What talent, what habit are you holding back on? Who are you scared of being? Would you be kinder? Would you be more loving? Would you be more empathetic? Would you be more bold? Would you be more courageous? Who would you be? And then the third question is, what would you do if you didn't worry about what people think of you? What would you do differently? What changes would you make to the way you act and behave into your life? It's really interesting. When I studied the Vedic literatures during my time as a monk, they talked about how we develop our identity based on three key things. And they are positions, possessions, and people. Right? Our identity has become about positions, possessions, and people. Let me break it down and give you an example. Position. I am a CEO. I am an author. I'm a podcaster. I'm an influencer, whatever it may be. Position. Second, possession. I'm a homeowner, right? I'm a car owner. I'm a pet owner. A possession. And then people. I'm married. I'm a fiance. I'm divorced. All of our identities are based on positions, possessions, and people. And that's why when we go through transitions in those areas, we're always intrigued to see what people think of us, right? You get promoted to another position, you wonder what everyone thinks. You get demoted or lose a job, you wonder what everyone thinks. Possession, you get your first home, what does everyone think? You are still paying rent and feeling judged for it, what does everyone think? People, you get married and you think, what does everyone think? You get divorced and you think, what does everyone think? So not only are we constantly wondering about what people think of us, our identity is also wrapped up in things that are based on what people think of us. And we rarely ever ask ourselves, what do I think of myself? Even right now, you might be thinking, oh gosh, what's everyone thinking of what I've achieved this first quarter? I came out swinging. Maybe I over-announced my New Year's resolutions. Maybe I haven't hit that goal of weight gain or weight loss, or maybe I haven't hit that goal of, I said I was going to post one video a day, like, oh no, and now my friends are laughing at me. I told them I was going to do this and I haven't. So many of us and our reflections are actually just overanalyzing what we think others think of us. It's not really based on how we want to focus, how we want to refocus, what we want to build. There's a great page that I love in the book, The Daily Laws by Robert Greene. And in that book, on page 41, he writes, "Become who you are." Some 2,600 years ago, the ancient Greek poet Pindar wrote, "Become who you are by learning who you are." What he meant is the following: you are born with a particular makeup and tendencies that mark you as a piece of fate. It is who you are to the core. Some people never become who they are. They stop trusting in themselves. They conform to the tastes of others, and they end up wearing a mask that hides their true nature. And his daily law from Robert Greene says, if you allow yourself to learn who you really are by paying attention to that voice and force within you, then you can become what you were fated to become, an individual, a master. Wow, right? First of all, wow. If you haven't read the book, The Daily Laws, I love it. It's a great daily book to read. And becoming who you are. I'm more interested in you becoming who you are than I am in any of the goals that you set. And the reason I say that to you is because I really believe that if you're closer to becoming who you are, everything else will follow through. The problem is we're becoming who they want us to be, or we're becoming who we think they think we want us to be. And that means we believe they're thinking about us in the first place. How many times a day do you sit there and think about what everyone else should do with their life? Genuinely, how often do you think about that? How often do you sit there and go, I know what so-and-so should do with their life? I'm guessing never or 1% of the time. That's exactly how much they're thinking about you. How much time do you spend every day thinking, I know whether that person should quit their career or not, or I'm not sure they should do that or not? Well, maybe there's a 10% of your conversation, but that's it. If you're only spending 10% of your time thinking about others, that's how much time people are spending thinking about you. But we think it's a lot more. We almost think that everyone's always constantly thinking about us. Every Instagram story they post, every Instagram reel they post, every quote they put up, every message on the group chat is all about us. We're constantly self-reflecting and self-projecting everything that we come across, right? All the time. And it's so fascinating to me that this happens again and again and again. And we rarely stop to ask ourselves, what do I think about myself? Who am I? What is important to me this year? And what is blocking me this year? And that's where I want you to start. That's where I want you to focus on. I'll be honest, managing money has always been something I've had to stay mindful about. It feels like everywhere you turn, someone's trying to make you spend. That's where Acorns comes in. Acorns is a financial wellness app that makes it easy to start saving and investing for your future. You don't need to be an expert. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that matches you and your money goals. You don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you get started with the spare money you've got right now, even if all you've got is spare change. Sign up now and join the over 13 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $22 billion with Acorns. Plus, Acorns will boost your new account with a $20 bonus investment. Offer available at acorns.com/purpose. That's acorns.com/PURPOSE to get your $20 bonus investment today. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 6 compensation provided. Investment involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/purpose.
I'm Cheryl Swoops, WNBA champ, 3-time Olympian, and Basketball Hall of Famer. I'm a mom and I'm a woman.
I'm Tarika Foster Brasby, journalist, sports reporter, basketball analyst, a wife, and I'm also a woman.
And on our new podcast, we're talking about the real obstacles women face day to day.
See, athlete or not, we all know it takes a lot as women to be at the top of our game.
We want to share those stories about balancing work and relationships, motherhood, career shifts. You know, just all the shit we go through.
Because no matter who you are, there are levels to what we experience as women.
And T and I, well, we have no problem going there.
Listen to Levels to This with Cheryl Swoops and Tarika Foster Brasby, an iHeart Women's Sports production in partnership with Deep Blue Sports and Entertainment. You can find us on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey y'all, Nimini here. I'm the host of a brand new history podcast for kids and families called Historical Records. Executive produced by Questlove, The Story Pirates, and John Glickman, Historical Records brings history to life through hip-hop.
Smash, slam, another one gone. Bash, bam, another one gone. The crack of the bat and another one gone. The tip of the cap, cause another one gone.
Each episode is about a different inspiring figure from history, like this one about Claudette Colvin, a 15-year-old girl in Alabama who refused to give up her seat on the city bus 9 whole months before Rosa Parks did the same thing. Check it.
And it began with me. Did you know, I wouldn't give up my seat. 9 months before Rosa, it was Claudette Colvin.
Get the kids in your life excited about history by tuning in to Historical Records. Because in order to make history, you have to make some noise. Listen to Historical Records on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Now, some of you may remember this, but Jamie on the Man Enough podcast with Justin Baldoni a few years ago now, this was quite a while ago, asked me, what did I used to value that I don't value anymore? And you can see me really think about this on the episode, and I stumble trying to figure out what's true to me in that moment. And I say, being misunderstood. I said, I don't value being understood anymore. I'm okay being misunderstood. And that is a work in progress. It's not a place that I've reached. It's something you're constantly working on. But the reason I said that and where it comes from is that I've realized that all of us are a paradox. Take this in really, really clearly. You, me, everyone we know is a paradox. And the reason why we struggle with ourselves is because we try to deny 50% or more of who we are, right? So a paradox is something that's seemingly absurd or contradictory. And what I'm saying is that all of us have contradictions in who we are, in how we behave, right? Someone could meet you one day and say you're the nicest person in the world, and someone else could meet you another day and say, I'm not so sure about them. Someone could say you're the kindest, and someone could say you're the most courageous. You might say that you're really an introvert, but everyone else thinks you're an extrovert. We're all paradoxical. And what limits us, the reason I'm bringing this up as a Q1 check-in, is because one of the ways in which we hold ourselves back is we try and say we're only one thing. And that doesn't allow us. What that does is it blocks creativity. It blocks energy. It blocks frequency and vibration that otherwise we could unlock if we gave ourselves permission to be all of ourselves. It's almost like today we feel everything is black and white, right? Everything's polarized because we're not able to get into the nuance. We're not able to get into the gray. How are you gray? How are you paradoxical? What is it about you that you keep pushing down, right? It may be a skill set, maybe a belief, and you're like, no, I don't want to be that. I'm just this one thing, right? What is that for you? I remember for me, it was for years, I was like, no, I've been a monk. That's what I am. That's who I am. And I'm not allowed to be a media personality. I'm not allowed to be other things. And I've realized that I want to embrace all of who I am. I want to embrace every skill I have. I want to embrace all the talents, all the passions that I have. And that's allowed me to unlock living a better life. And I wonder, what is it that you have blocked? What part of yourself are you blocking, restricting, limiting that's not allowing you to live at that level? There's a beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita, the book that I studied during my time as a monk, that says, attachment and aversion are two sides of the same coin. Let me say that again. Attachment and aversion are two sides of the same coin. Notice how we all oscillate between attachment and aversion. This is who I am, I'm attached. That's not who I am, I'm averse. And we find that it's the same energy, right? When you're holding something close or pushing something away, it's the same level of energy. Whereas when you're able to accept, hey, maybe I'm a bit of both. Maybe that's okay. Maybe I'm playful and profound. Maybe I'm assertive and affectionate. Maybe I'm organized and totally goofy, right? We often want people to be one thing, and we want to be one thing, when we're all more than one thing. What part of yourself have you been blocking? What part of yourself have you been limiting because of that mindset? I also want to flip this one. Who's someone in your life you have a very black and white view of? Could you look at them differently? Maybe do you recognize that they're paradoxical just as you are? There are parts of them that exist even if you never perceive them. It's so easy for us. We're lost in a world right now that's all about left and right, black and white, right and wrong, this and that. And the truth is there's so much nuance, there's so much gray. I do this one exercise sometimes with a client, and we'll be walking down a path, and I'll ask them to focus on something or find some shrub, some stone, whatever it is that kind of stands out to them that's unique and different, something that they wouldn't be familiar with. And I remember this one client, he picked something on the path, and I asked him before he picked it up, I said, tell me what you think it's like. And he said, it looks really rough, hard, and harsh. I said, okay, great, pick it up. He picked it up and half of it dissolved in his hand. It was completely soft, almost like ash. Then when he turned it over, the other side was really smooth. And I said to him, this is the story of us, and this is the story of everyone in our lives. We have a judgment, we have a perception, we have an opinion, we have an assumption. Often we never even take the moment to experience that individual, to really try and understand them. We just assume that our opinion, our projection, our prediction, our judgment must be right. Now, even when we try to come across that person, we may still hold on to our assumptions. But actually, if we open up, we recognize that they're a lot more complex, they're a lot more layered, they're a lot more textured than we thought. And the same is true for ourselves. We're so much more than who we think we are. And that's why we're meant for more. We're made for more. We're built for more. We're created for more. But we keep focusing on less. We keep thinking we deserve less. We keep thinking we're made for less. We keep thinking that we're built for less. We keep settling for less and less and less, not realizing we're made for and meant for so much more than we set ourselves up for. What parts of yourself have you been hiding? What parts of yourself have you been limiting in quarter one? What parts of yourself have you been restricting? And what parts of others have you been limiting as well? The degree to which we can't accept our own paradoxical nature, it becomes harder to accept others. That's just the reality that we face. It's just what we're going through. It's just the challenge we experience. Now, finally, I want to focus on a bit of strategy. I want to ask you 3 questions. What do you need to add to your life in quarter 2 to get it in the right direction? What's the one thing